One of the first jobs I had as a heavy equipment operator type person was down in the crow's nest. And we were working for a company down there, and I was under the employ of, if you recall, 2 stories ago, that wonderful man in the north who thought I was thanking him for firing me, letting me go. I wasn't. He didn't realize. I told him, not thanking you for firing me. I'm thanking you for allowing me the privilege and the honor of having worked for you for as long as you did. The next job I had after that little crow's nest pass thing, whoa, children, don't work in a coal mine. Don't do it. Run down however far to the bottom of where a mountain had stood. And I mean, they start at the top of a mountain. If it's too fragile to tunnel, they will, if it's splintered too much, they'll just start at the top of the mountain and they'll just start trimming her off, and they'll work their way all the way down until they come on to coal. And coal is a reflection of the upheaval of the earth. And so coal could be near the top of the mountain. Sometimes coal sticks out the side of a mountain, and it goes right down to the very bottom. And you drive down there, you get to the bottom of the mine, and our company, though it was a big company I worked for, we ran small trucks, 785s. They're real tiny. Well, they're not as bad as 777s, but they're real close. And you'd get down to the bottom, and the air would be so black that the last time you could see where the hoe was working was probably a couple of 100 yards up the road. Ice road, solid ice, 8, 10, 11 degree downgrade. Every 100 yards there was a runaway, and because if your truck got away from you, you would not live unless you took the runaway and got her stopped. And you'd get near the bottom, and you couldn't see. You knew you were close to the bottom, but you couldn't see. Remember that. I'm going to do a quick switch to North Fork Road, Outer Rocky Mountain House. And after that crow's nest job, I went to work for a wonderful company out of Olds. And I kind of got sideways of some guys. They're most generally bald, not because they're old, and they most generally hate anyone of color. And one night I was sitting, and they happened to be in the lay down. I'm pretty sure I was in an outfitter's tent out back in the bush. I think I'd graduated from sleeping in the cab of my old Dodge truck, and my sons had brought me an outfitter's tent. And I was sitting in drinking coffee back then for about a month or so. I had 1 can of tuna a day, and some days I'd have none. And it was not necessarily because of a lot of choice on my part. It's what I had to eat. And and I lost weight. Oh dear Lord, I so don't ever want to be overweight again. And but a man sitting at the table, he said, "What did that?" And he used the N word, do today. And I said, "You mean so and so?" He said, yeah, the N word. I said, you know, it's very interesting. I said, if you ever said that in front of a boss, he would be morally obligated, whether he agreed with you or not, but he'd be morally obligated to fire you on the spot. He said, I don't care. I said, I want you to know something. That man, he's raising a 14-year-old boy. And I said, that man works. He is a surveyor. I don't know if he'll ever hear this, but he'll know who I'm talking about. And I said, I count that man as a personal friend. He said, what do you know? You're just a Christian. And I thought, well, back then I called myself a Christian. I don't anymore. I believe fundamentally the same basic things. I just believe more in God than I do in church and religion. Don't like religion. And I thought, well, at least the dummy noticed. At least he noticed I was trying. And, but I did get sideways of them. And didn't take much effort on my part. So I was in my tent. I recall that now. And one thing out there, you don't want a grizzly to come in the side wall of the tent because you might not have a chance before he got a grip on you. And having wrestled a bear, and I tracked a bear into a tunnel system one time, and I discovered that that was not a good thing to do, and I backed out slowly, gently. And I took much longer to back out than I did walking in, let me tell you, because you could not tell if the bear was going to come. I was pretty sure I'd wounded the poor thing, but I wasn't going to go and finish him off because he surely would have finished me. So what I did in my tent, well, I had my little sawed-off 12-gauge pump, and, well, I slept with Ed, no one else there that I loved. Would be a woman, I guarantee you that. And hadn't met the black-haired warrior woman by then. Hadn't even thought of it. And I thought, well, the only way to keep a bear from coming in the side wall of the tent is to open the front doors of the tent. So I opened those flaps on the tent as wide as I could, and I thought, okay, you got a clear run for the bear to come grab you. And I thought, I can fix that. So I took a collapsible table and I kind of set it across the opening of the door of the tent, but it wouldn't cover. There's about a foot or so on each side. And I thought, okay, he knocks the table. I loaded that table up with everything that I could get my hands on. Everything that if a bear come in and knocked the table over, it'd wake me up and I could start shooting. And I can shoot children. Trust me. Oh, especially with a sawed-off 12-gauge. But I still can shoot. And hard to believe. I missed 2 moose in my life. Oh, shameful. And anyways, after offending those guys, I thought, well, I hope they don't come walking in, but I made sure they knew that I had my shotgun with me and so on. So one night about 2-3 in the morning, I was sleeping pretty good, and something come in under the table, and the first I noticed it jumped on my bed, on my I had a cot. I'd rather sleep on a cot than on the ground. Well, especially not down south. No. And the little thing, it jumped from my left leg up. It took about two jumps, maybe 3, and it was sitting right on my chest. looking me right in the face. My eyes were closed, and I didn't want to open my eyes. I didn't know what it was. Seemed like it weighed about 8 pounds, and I breathed a bit heavy. Trust me, you're not sure what's sitting on your chest. It's that time of the morning, and yeah, that little thing just took right off. And I thought, well, it's not a skunk. It sure doesn't smell. And a skunk wouldn't be that big. I thought, oh, how appropriate. A spruce martin. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Oh, a couple of nights later, along about the same time, I don't know why all these little critters. Anyways, who knew what time it was really? And pot started to get knocked off that table in the entry. And I had my shotgun in my right hand, and I had a round in her already because you don't have time to do anything less than take the safety off and start shooting. And the cans I had on that table, they came off, and not a blessed thing happened. Nothing. As quick as I was to get sitting upright in the cot, holding the 12 gauge in my right hand, reaching for the flashlight, which I just couldn't find right away, and it was going. And the way the ground was the next day, I could not pick the bear's tracks. If it had been a human, I could have. But there was so much stuff that had fallen off the spruce trees. It was like you were walking on 2 inches of thick carpet that just kind of just didn't leave much for imprint. And I've had so much fun, so much adrenaline, I guess maybe is. You can kind of get hooked on that. It's like when you lift weights, something happens to your muscles after a while, and I'm not sure what it is, but it's like a drug. It's like a high. It's like you just keep lifting way beyond where maybe your muscles should handle it, and 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 you just get high, and it's for me it's kind of like adrenaline, and I quite like that, and so I watched I watched those well, let's call them neo Nazis who hated my friend who was a Negro. You know, he was the first black man, the first Negro man that I ever met, that I got to know. And it was such an honor for me. I don't believe in color. Color, we all have the same pigment. It's called the same scientific chemical name. I don't know what it is, but I read it once. And the darker, the blacker you are, the more of that pigment, it's the same pigment you have from an albino, which I'm not a scientist, to the blackest man on earth. It's just that pigment. And when my Lord suffered, bled, and died on the cross, he didn't die for color. He died for everyone. He died for all people, all mankind. So I kind of look at myself and I think, maybe single the rest of your life. Oh, I've had 3 kicks at the cat. They just didn't turn out. Have a couple of good sons from the First Lady. Children, Christmas. You're going to live till you die. Choose what you're going to be remembered for. Oh, you broken-hearted ladies, you baby children who are used and abused, I'm so sorry for you. I truly am. My prayer is that you're able to live beyond the agony that you've experienced. Because if you don't, if you can't live beyond that, if you can't take it to the Lord, if somehow you can't find an avenue of healing, then that abuser will still hold sway over your life. That means his, her, not often her, but his influence, his corruption, evil that he did against you will continue to restrict you. And listen, I only know a little elder abuse. It helped me understand a lot. I've always been anti-abuse. Always. Because that's how God got me started, was through learning to care for people. Little Barry, not little, he's pretty big. I was 5, he's something, 7, 8, 9, I don't know. To my dear friend, Helen, who killed her husband because he was letting delivery people use his 11-year-old daughter in payment, in lieu of paying for his own milk and bread. And he had lots of money. He worked. So I've been taught by God and people to care. Don't let the abusers in your life continue to influence you and or what you do. Learn to trust, learn to love. Learn that you don't have to give of yourself, of your person, your body, to someone to earn their acceptance. No, you don't. They have no right. You are more than what you were. And it wasn't even your fault that you were. Children, you're innocent when you have been a child who has been abused, and you grew up not knowing how to trust again. That's what abusers do. They try to earn your trust. They're lying. They're evil. And when they have your trust, then they betray it. Well, you're coming up on a new year. You can choose. You can choose. You're going to live till you die. Only you can determine what that means. Only you. God bless you. Merry Christmas, eh? That's spelled C-H-R-I-S-T-M-A-S, not X-M-A-S. No, Christ. Christmas. God bless.